Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, the Ancient Gladiator, today with the first few rounds of Agricola. Alright, if you watch the video, you'll see it's about getting the most points by doing everything you need to do to run your farm. Alright, part of the setup, we've got 3 players, so we've got the clay, the 2 wood, the occupation, for 2 food. We're taking building resource. Alright, everyone's got their setup. Starting player's red. So kick it off. New card, new stuff. Come on. Alright. The sheep, all the other spaces get their stuff. And we start. So let's take a look at what might be some options to consider between everything else. Let's see here. We can get some occupations going. Or maybe start a improvement. The plane to turn wood into food with the joinery. Or the sawmill or cabinet maker. The thing is, I don't have the sawmill. I don't have a cabinet maker either. What's something that's going to help early? Like occupation-wise. The main thing to keep in mind is making sure I got enough food at the end of the stage 1 of the game. Yeah, not having any resources means not really making anything improvement-wise. So, what we'll probably have to do is see about occupations. Mendicant might be something to do late game if absolutely necessary. But I'm hoping not to get into that point. You know what? Because if you know the who that's supposed to be, we'll go with them first. Dock worker. All right, so we go here. First occupation being free on that space only. Play the dock worker. And now I have a way to convert 3 wood to something else, or 2 of something else, to 1 of something else. Alright. Green. Well, being able to build either more wood rooms or fences in the future might be worth going after wood right now. The occupations are nice, but it's like, let's try to get resources, you know? But maybe the other consideration is, what are some things I could do as well? A longer term plan is to think about getting these major improvements. The option to get major improvements doesn't show up until later, though. Minor improvements are available right now. Now, we can keep 1 sheep in our house for the time being. So, we'll go ahead and do... Or play it smart and look at what we can do occupation-wise or improvement-wise. Alright. The hedge keeper. Now, do I really want to go for the occupation now? Alternatively, seizing starting player and going for a minor improvement, if possible. But I've got nothing to trade for any of this stuff. So let's think about what be worth going after. A lot of stuff really needs occupations. So clay delivery man would be nice. Hedge keeper. I think we look at what minor improvements we could try to get early, and we see that having wood is going to help. So that's what we do. Coming back to red. Just being able to straight up get food and not have to worry about it is sometimes the best approach. Eventually should look at plowing fields though, which is what green's going to do. We've got wood right now. There's an idea. In the future, we can use the fishing action space. And if we use the raft, we can get an additional food or reed. So what we'll do is seize a starting player and then spend 2 wood on the raft. That'll be worth a point at the end of the game by itself. And then it has that usefulness as well. The blue player is going to go ahead and take the sheep. The sheep will occupy the house as a pet, for now. And then that's basically it. Everyone's placed their family members. Everybody comes back. Starting player moves to green for seizing that space. And then we start the next round with the new card. So, new card will be from the top of the deck. Sow and or bake bread. So have to plow fields first, then you'll have to have the grains or vegetables to do it. Everything that collects tokens collects tokens. We've got 2 more wood here, 3 more wood over here, 1 more clay on each of these, 1 more reed, 1 more food, and 1 more sheep. Alright. So starting with green, what they'll do is just go fishing and get some extra food to stock up on using their raft. Buys them some time for the future. At the end of round 4, they'll need 4 food to cover their family members. Alright, blue has a sheep and a need to fence them in a little bit better. And since green passed up on that opportunity to do it, free occupation. Alright. So hedge keeper, we build 1 fence, at least 1 fence. You can build up to 3 additional ones without paying any additional wood. And building a fence is not happening until somewhere in the later stages. But at least it's an option now. So, Hedgekeeper, as part of that future planning, for big sheep pasture. Red is now on the back foot of need to figure things out. You can always just plow a field and hope that taking the grain option remains available for future planning. We'll set it up over here so we got space to work with. Green is thinking some things over. You know, being able to build another room might be worth considering. They're going to go ahead and get breed as part of that plan. Blue, thinking about the future, is going to go collect the wood as part of a plan to build a fenced-in area. Alright. That leaves red to fulfill their plan of taking the grain. Nobody sees starting player, so it remains with green. The worker is returned. And then stage 1, card number 3. Fences can now be built. And then let's do this in a sensible order. More wood, more clay, more sheep, more wood, more clay, more reed, and more food. One moment. This evening is still way hot here. Alright. So what is the plan? There's getting the material to make another room. Blue will once again think about, hey, I could get another occupation for 1 food instead of for 1 food instead of 2. Or it's maybe setting things up for the future. You know, the game's moving along, alright. Maybe another occupation is in order. That might actually be an interesting approach, too. Master Brewer. In the feeding phase of harvest, the Master Brewer can convert up to 1 grain to 3 food. You just need to have a reliable source of grain is all. Or we can stick to the original plan of let's build a big-ass pasture So fences. So five wood is 5 sections of fence, and then we can build an additional 3 for free. So 8 fences. Thanks to the hedge keeper, and we can build the great big square. And now we have a room for our sheep. I'm not sure what the timing is on when to relocate. But now the sheep gets to be out in the grass. Red. Red's going to take that action to sow their grain. They could also bake bread if they had an oven or fireplace or cooking hearth. So they took 1 from their own supply and then 2 from the main supply. Now that to work with. Alright, back to green. Well, let's go ahead and build rooms. So, 5 wood, 2 reed, and we now have the 3-room house. Now we've got space for another family member in the future. Blue. What's blue gonna do? There's a whole lot of clay. Renovation doesn't show up until stage 2. Maybe another occupation's in order? I don't know. If getting more grain's an option, then maybe waiting and getting the grain first. Because it would be take the grain, plow the field, take the grain, sow it, get the occupation, and I'm already 3 actions deep and 3 actions away from being able to fulfill that. But considering how many things will require me to have like multiple occupations, it might be worth considering. You know what? We're gonna play the long game here. We're gonna go here and spend 1 food for clay delivery man. Place 1 clay on each space of round 6 and 14. I might need them later. Who knows? At least it's an option. And then red. What can red do? And get another occupation. But now I have to pay 2 food to get it. You know, being able to get clay with renovations coming up might be helpful. So, the clay mixer. So, when one of your people's actions gives you only clay, receive 2 additional clay. That might be the thing to do. Spend 2 food, and now I have a clay mixer. And that gives me 2 occupations for a number of minor improvements that require multiple occupations. see here. Alright. End of the round. Everybody comes back. New stage, or new round. One minor or major improvement. So now these cards here in the corner are open. Alright. Restocking. So, 2 wood. 1 clay. Let's go ahead and just save a little bit of trouble and do that. Nothing builds up here. Sheep. Three wood. We'll place. Use that. 1 clay. Again, make use of these. 1 reed. 1 food. So at the end of this turn, I have to have enough food to cover everybody. Red and blue are going to be in trouble if they don't. So, green has no materials, but at least they're not having to worry about anything food-wise. Let's see here. You know, getting an occupation might actually make sense now. Master Builder to extend it by a room after hitting 5, just to use up a space. Let's also look at the major improvements too. Thing is, we're not really set up for a lot of this stuff yet. I'm thinking first occupation, we'll go with woodcutter. You receive 1 additional wood whenever you use a family member's action to take wood. Alright. There's a golden opportunity right there unless someone else gets to it. We cannot ignore the fact that food is necessary. And neither can they. However, there's a risk. There's something we can risk here. A fireplace could be used to turn grain into bread. But I have to take the actual bake bread action to do it. I think we focus on getting the food now and then start thinking about the plan to bake bread later. It comes back to green. And they will continue to amass materials here. They'll take all that wood. They'll get additional wood for their woodcutter. So they basically have 7 wood right now. Oh yeah, I don't think I explained it with the fences. You have to build and complete areas at a time. So it's like you can't build like a half-assed square. Alright, comes back to blue. They have sheep. If they can make it a point to get a ton of sheep and use that as their food source, that might be worth doing. I'm trying to remember if the one with a spin. Yeah. So with that in mind, for the future, they're probably going to look at trying to get the spindle going. When you have sheep during the field phase of a harvest, you receive food. At least 3 is 1, at least 5 is 2. Alright. And finally, red. Let's see. No materials to work with. Planning ahead. Planning ahead is going to be good to get wood. But looking at stuff going on out here, eventually getting like an oven to turn grain into bread might be the big picture plan. So they're going to come here and get the 4 clay. And then when one of your people's actions gives you only clay, get 2 more. So they're out. Ugh. Alright. So everybody comes back. Starting player has not changed. Alright. Harvest time. Take 1 marker from each grain and vegetable field. Don't mind if I do. Feed your family. 2 food for the family members you had at the start of this turn. 1 for any new members. Like if you took the family growth action, wherever it shows up, somewhere in stage 2, you'll only have to pay 1 food if you did it this turn. Okay. Everybody paid their food. And now with only, in breeding phase, have at least 2 of the same type of animal, add 1 more. As long as there's space for it. There we go. More sheep. Big sheep pasture. So, at this point, where are the players' standings? Right now, Blue's doing better by having the great big pasture right here. But because it's only 1 pasture, it's only going to be worth 1 point. But it's using up 4 spaces, so that's spaces they don't have to worry about filling in later. But they've got no fields, no grain and vegetables, and they only have sheep. 5 sheep is worth a couple of points, but that gets negated by not having cattle or boar, which will show up later anyway. Green, they've got a nice big house, but they don't have much else. Red's got their field going, at least. And then if they can build a stock of grain, that's going to come in real handy. But this is the early game. Anything could happen from here. So yeah, this is the first few rounds of Agricola. And from this point, it's just going to be a shorter and shorter time frame to get ready for the harvest or get absolutely screwed. It's going to require making the most of your occupations and improvements. And potentially expanding your family, expanding the house so they got space. Making things better. And just trying to get the most points at the end. Now that I think about it, the having the dock worker and all that clay is going to give me some options to work with. So maybe Red's next move is trade some clay for stone and build an oven. Maybe Green's next move is look out for the family growth and make sure to capitalize on that. Maybe Blue's next move is build a stable and then divide up the one pasture into two and get some different animals. But yeah, this game has a lot of cards to work with between the major improvement and occupation decks, and some of them are going to be really tricky, which is why I always recommend if you're new to the game, play with the e-cards since you're entry level to the game. At some point, I will have to get card sleeves, and it's going to suck because it's a lot of cards. But it's always worth it to me. But yeah, I do need to try the Farmers to the More expansion at some point and see how that plays. Because I'm having to manage your heat, keep your family warm and not sick from the cold is something. But yeah, Agricola, play a game and see how it flows yourself. Alright. Thanks for watching. It's Pillar. We'll see you next time.